Hi guys, Robert Rivera here with the Rivera Trading Group, and this is weekly recap number 74 or 75, not sure. I'll have to look at the title to see which one is it, but if you want to find the other weekly recaps, there are here on the website with a playlist that will give you all the details. What I'm really looking into this week is a 5-minute setup during London and during New York and the supply and demand strategy. So this is the Big Ben, and let's call the other Rockefeller. You notice here, this is starting Monday, the 19th with GBP USD in our window. This is 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. I'm looking into this window because this is when volume picks up, right? We did have a setup here from before. This is an area of demand, but the demand did not touch until after the window. There is an area of supply here that was left that gave you an entry soon after. You could have taken that for a win, but let's just call it basically a no trade day on this day. Moving for London, let's moving into New York, same kind of situation. We have a supply that was left behind. We have another supply that was left behind, but there was no mitigation until after the window of time. And this window of time is from 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. All right, this window of time. All right, so nothing happened there either. Let's go to the next day. And there are a couple of things I'm looking for. I'm looking for an area of demand. I'm looking for price to push up away from an area pretty quickly. And I'm looking for it to break structure. I'm putting this line here to show you where the break of structure happened. Okay. And then I'm looking for it to return to the demand. Now, there's a demand here that was, but it broke right through. You can see how this one broke right through and never gave an entry for that one. And then there's the bigger one, the first one that was here. It went right into it, mitigated, and went straight up for a 2-to-1, and that's a win here for London on the 20th. And then here we have New York. New York, we had a previous demand here. Did it touch? Did it not touch? Not sure. I mean, if I go really close into it, I'll probably see that they didn't touch, maybe, or maybe it did touch. And if it did touch, obviously, then that paid right away. Let me see. Yeah, structure would have been broken right here. There's a break of structure here, leaving a gap, coming back, or just going up here. We can see a supply, it hit supply, or it created supply up here when it broke this structure, okay, leaving behind supply, entry 2-to-1. So you can either, you would have won on the buy, you would have won on the sell. Let's just take one win on that one, and let's just keep going. Okay, London on the 21st, this is Wednesday, looking for something to be created. Here we have demand that was created. I don't think that touched. I don't think that touched, and if it touched, then that would have been an L. Let me see, a break of structure. Yeah, this would have been a break of structure. Let me see, break of structure here, perhaps. So it could have been considered perhaps an entry here with an L if you took a buy. I'm looking at sells because of the structure of the market, right? It broke through here. I'm looking for a retest of this area. In fact, there's a fair value gap right there. Always remember that price seeks fair value gaps or liquidity. So price is going to either go up here to take this out, or it's going to go down here to take this out. And so as price is moving up, where is it going? It's going into this area. And so I'm interested in finding out what's going to happen there. So there's a setup here for a sell. This gets mitigated. Entry is right there, drops for a win. Okay. Here we have another setup for New York. We have a potential entry here for a bullish entry down here. But before that is created, price continues pushing up into this area still of supply. It drops, creating a gap. It broke structure when it did so, providing an entry. And obviously this entry is first before this one. If you were looking for a bullish entry here, you would have not had an entry until after this one was created. So this would be my entry, and it also wins. That's New York. And then let's go into, again, London for the next day. Here we have the next day, the 22nd. On Thursday, we have a demand down here that broke structure right there. Price returns, entry, beautiful, way more than 2-to-1, right? These are all 2-to-1s. We go into New York. Now we have some sort of reversal going on. Price is dropping. There's no entry. It reaches the bottom. It breaks through this little structure here, leaving behind a gap, okay, which fills in right there. That's your entry, and 2 to 1. Beautiful. That was Thursday. Okay, coming into Friday, we have a demand zone created down here. We have a gap that formed right there. We have an entry in this candle after it breaks the high, stop loss comes below, and it hits a 2 for 1 for another winner. And that was London. And then from New York, we have it reached an area of supply where it dropped, it broke structure right there, came back and mitigated it right there, entry there, stop loss, 2 to 1. And so for GBP USD, we ended up with let's see, nothing there, nothing there. For London, with London here, 4%, 8%, 12%, 16%, 20%, 24%, 28%, 32%, 32% in just 1 week with no losers on GBP USD. Let's go into GBP JPY. Okay, coming into GBP JPY on the 19th, which is Monday, we have no setup here at all until the very end. An entry was outside of our window, and so we would not consider that, even though potentially that could have paid you some good money. We're not going to consider that. Going into New York, it came down, created an area of demand, broke structure, returned to demand, and paid a 2 to 1 very nicely. Let's go to the next day. We have here a supply that was created there. This is the mitigation of the supply. This is the break of structure. Again, you always want to look for a break of structure, which gives you confirmation that price wants to go down. And as you can tell, this one didn't go all down forever, but it did pay a 2 to 1 in this case, and we got paid on that one. Going into Tuesday, we have another setup here where we have a strong move up, which ran into a supply, dropped, broke structure, retested, and dropped for payment. That was Tuesday. Let's go into Wednesday. Wednesday, there was a setup here, but there was no entry on it, so nothing happened on that day for London. Okay, coming into New York on Wednesday, we have a strong push up here looking for buys. Obviously here we have a break of structure leaving behind a gap. It comes and fills the gap, entry goes right there, and it paid very nicely. And again, this is Wednesday the 21st. Let's go into the next day, London. And we have a couple of potential, well, no setup there, potential setup there that never got mitigated. You can go all the way to the top, nothing. So there's no entry there for London. We come to New York. New York drop. And finally, we have a gap down here that did get mitigated with entry, but that was a failed trade. Not sure if I would have taken it that far low, but again, just following any potentiality that we could have taken. That's the first one that came to, and so that would have been an L. All right, and that was Thursday. Let's go into Friday. Friday, London. We have no entry on anything here that I can see. Nothing, because this is outside the window. There was a gap there, but this is outside the window. So no entry, nothing happening. And we go into Friday. And Friday we have this right here. This supply right there, beautiful supply, perfectly mitigated. Break of structure right here, right, leaving a gap. Here comes the retest. You could take whichever one you want to take. You could have taken this entry here below that. You could have taken this entry here below that. You could have taken this entry here below that. All of them paid you. All right, and that's the end of the week for GBP JPY. Let's do the numbers on GBP JPY. There's nothing there. For London, we have a 4%, 8%, 12%. Again, this is using obviously both London and New York. 12%, 16%. I'm really thinking about doing both London and New York because I have now specific times. So I already said 16%, right? Nothing there. Lose here, so 14%. 14%, nothing there, and 20%. That's a lot, guys. I mean, that's a lot. I'm really thinking about going ahead and trying to do this. I'm gonna have to pick one of the two. I really can't do both. I got to figure out which is the one that pays for more consistency. But what I like about the London is the fact that it usually creates the high of the day or the low of the day during London. Okay, let's go into gold. All right, so we have a demand created outside, which was mitigated within our time and paid a beautiful 2-to-1 on London. Then we come to New York, we have supply created right outside of our time, and then it gets mitigated during our time and it pays beautifully during New York. All right, we move to London the next day, demand that never got mitigated, so nothing to do there. Looking to perhaps over here, nothing. That would have been a buy, and you would have done well to buy someone here, but there was no entry according to the strategy. Here we have a loser and a winner in the same session, and if you're risking 1%, you can do this. If you're risking more than 1%, then you really shouldn't do this, because it's going to hurt your account if you lose both of them. But here we have a buy setup that did very well if you took it aggressively, but since we're not doing aggressive, this would have been entry up here, and that failed. Okay, that's a loss. But then from the supply, it left an entry right there. Stop loss above, beautiful 2-to-1. Okay, so we'll take one of each of those. And then nothing here during London the next day. We have a gap, but there's no mitigation there. Nothing happened here either. Nothing mitigation there. Nothing happened. Okay, we go to the next day. This one right here, did we take this? I guess that's a question. Did we take this? Did this break structure? I guess that's really what it is. That this right here did not break structure, right? This right here did not break structure. Let's go ahead and set it up so you can see it. We have a line across here, and I'm looking at the break of the bodies, by the way. I'm looking at the break of the body, something to close outside. So even though it provided a demand, and even though it would have paid nicely to the upside, there was no entry here. That's why I have it here like no entry. Because I'm looking for a break of structure. And here you have the break of structure to the downside, right? It broke right through this structure right here, leaving a close below, providing an entry there, and there it is for a nice payment on that one. That was Tuesday. Here is, I guess that Tuesday. Let's go back. That was Wednesday. All right. Here's Thursday. Demand created from before, break of structure there, return, boom, paid 2-to-1. This paid twice. Then it created a supply at the top. Okay, entry, payment, beautiful. We go to New York, supply, payment, beautiful. All right, and we go into Thursday, no, not Friday, the last day. Beautiful supply created, kind of anticipated. This was kind of easy to anticipate, right? It's dropping, comes back for a fib kind of move, drops, and beautiful entry, and 2-to-1 on that one. And then we have two demands here. This one did not get mitigated. This one did get mitigated, again, after breaking structure, and provided an entry when it came down here. Now, there could have been potentially a sell up here, but this mitigated first, and we are bullish. So let's take the buy, right? And we won on that one. Let's go take a look at the numbers for gold then. And we have 4%, 8%. Let's move that one. So 8% minus 2 is 6. We win this one 10. Okay. Nothing there, nothing there. 10, 14, 14, 18, 22, 26, 30, 34. So obviously the numbers are pretty big and the potentiality is huge for these. And if you notice, they were not very difficult to catch. There were some that might have been tricky, right? Or whether you take a buy or whether you take the sell, but the great majority of them were very clear what you needed to take. For example, here during London, there's only one setup, right? I mean, this is it right here. You got to catch that sell right there, and there it is. All right. And then for this move up, obviously we're bullish, right? We're bullish. And then we have a setup there, mitigates, and there you go. So I think that this provides a reasonable expectation that you can take this with a high level of confidence. And even if you mess up one or two, you're going to have multiple opportunities across these three pairs: GBP USD, GBP JPY, and gold. Coming into the NASDAQ, on Monday, we see a break of structure right here, leaving behind a demand, which is mitigated during our session, which provides entry and pays just before it started going down. That was Monday. We go into Tuesday. Not much else happened this week during the NAS. Here we have a beautiful supply, but nothing happened when it came back. It's outside of our time. It didn't mitigate. I mean, if you wanted to take an entry after the rejection, yeah, you could have gotten an entry there. You could have gotten paid, but it didn't happen within our window, so nothing happened there. We go into Wednesday, and another beautiful supply. Didn't mitigate until after our time. Provided an entry perhaps there after the liquidity move. Okay, and then it would have paid very nicely. So again, maybe our window needs to be expanded, but as of right now, it's not happening there. Right, let's go into the next day. This would be Thursday, I believe. And here we have a similar situation. Let's see, nothing ever set up here. Nothing ever set up here, nothing whatsoever. There's a gap there, but not a supply. So nothing there. And we go into Friday. And Friday, again, very disappointing. I ended up taking this right here, this gap right here, which there's no gap here. On the 3 minute, there is a gap there. And so I ended up taking that. Let's go into the 3 minutes, so perhaps you can see it. There it is on the 3 minute, and I took it as it mitigated entry, and I dropped because I anticipated that was a definitive gap there, but you couldn't see it on the 5 minute. But on the 5 minute, it didn't provide it. So that was that. So to wrap it up, I would say that GBP USD, GBP JPY, and gold all provided great opportunities throughout the week. Immense opportunities, very few losses, very little losses, and not that difficult to spot them. So highly recommend it, and I would encourage everybody to look into the supply and demand strategy during the London session. Okay, that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. God bless you. Bye-bye.